Hi and welcome to the video training of Docker. This is the second video in this lesson series. In this video we will be looking at the Docker command line. So to list available commands, either run Docker with no parameters or execute Docker help, you need to just run the Docker command. So if you run Docker, you will see it will give you a self-sufficient runtime containers, and it gives you options and management commands. For example, app, builder, build, config, container, context, image, manifest, network, node, plugin, scan, etc. There are a lot of them. So what we are going to do, we are going to learn some basic Docker CLI commands which might be useful when you are implementing Docker on your own machine or on the server. So depending on your Docker system configuration, you may be required to preface each Docker command with sudo. To avoid having to use sudo with the Docker command, your system administrator can create a Unix group called Docker and add users to it. Okay, let's look at the environment variables. The following list of environment variables are supported by the Docker command line. So the first one is the variable description. We have Docker API version, Docker certification path, Docker config, Docker content trust server, Docker content server, Docker context, Docker default platform, Docker hide legacy commands, Docker host, Docker stack orchestrator, Docker TLS verify. Okay, because Docker is developed using Go language, you can also use any environment variables used by the Go runtime. In particular, you may find these useful: http_proxy, https_proxy, or no_proxy. These Go environment variables are case insensitive. See the Go specification for details on these variables. Okay, let's look at the configuration files. By default, the Docker command line stores its configuration files in a directory called .docker within your home directory. So let's explore that. I am in my home directory, so let's see if there is a Docker file here. ALH. Okay. Okay, it's not here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to see where is the Docker default file. So I can say sudo docker config, sudo docker config. Okay, and you can see it says docker config command create inspect list configs. Okay, so just type in sudo docker config and ls. Okay, it says error response from daemon. This node is not a swarm manager. Use docker swarm init or docker swarm join to connect this node to swarm and try again. Okay, sudo docker swarm init. Okay, now we can say, you can see we have a sudo docker config ls now, and to add a manager to this swarm, we are going to run sudo docker swarm join token manager. Okay, here it says display and create the root certificate and keys. Okay, Docker manages most of the files in the configuration directory and you should not modify them. However, you can modify the config.json file to create aspects of how the Docker command behaves. You can modify the Docker command behavior using environment variables or command line options. You can also use options within config.json to modify some of the same behavior. If an environment variable and the config flag are set, the flag takes precedent over the environment variable. Command line options override environment variables, and environment variables override properties you specify in a config.json file. Okay, how to display help text. To list the help on any command, just execute the command followed by the --help option. So we can say sudo docker help, and you will get the same help commands that we got using just sudo docker. So you can just type in sudo docker. Option type: single character command line options can be combined. So rather than typing docker run -i-t --name test busybox sh, you can write sudo docker run it --name and test busybox sh. So what it will do, it will try to find the image busybox latest locally. If it can't find it, it will try to download it from the internet and then run it. So now it's downloading it from the internet, that is library busybox. You can see the progress bar, and okay, it says .sh executable file does not found in path unknown. Starting container process can used exec downloaded never waiting for container cancelled. So let's see what we have here. Docker images, you can see we have downloaded the busybox. So let's try to run it. Sudo docker run busybox. Okay, it is running. Response from the daemon OCI runtime create cancelled failed. Alright, so there is some issue here. What we can do is we can try to run the busybox this way. Conflict: the container name test is already in use by the container, so we can remove sudo docker rm test. Okay, now we try to run test again, and you can see we are in the busybox instance of the Docker. Here we have another operating system running within the Docker, and this is our folder and the whole instance within our host's laptop. Okay, the next thing is Boolean options. Take the form -d equals false. The value you see in the help text is the default value, which is set if you do not specify that flag. If you specify a Boolean flag without a value, this will set the flag to true, irrespective of the default value. For example, running docker run -d will set the value to true. So your container will run in detached mode in the background. Options which default to true, for example docker build -rm equals true, can only be set to the non-default value by explicitly setting them to false. So you can say to docker build $rm equals false. Okay, let's look at another option, that is running multiple times single command. You can specify options like -a equals square bracket multiple times in a single command line. For example, in these commands, docker run -a std in -a std out -i -t ubuntu /bin/bash. So let's exit this and we are back to our host operating system. Now let's run something. Let's check if I have Ubuntu. No, I don't have Ubuntu instance installed at the moment. Okay, but we can run hello world sudo docker run -a stdin -a stdout -i -t and hello world. Okay, you can see we have successfully ran the hello world image, and it says hello from Docker. This message shows that your installation appears to be working correctly, and it gives us some output as well. So sometimes multiple options can call for a more complex value string, as for -v. So if you have MySQL container image in your container, you can use -v as well and specify the parameters host container and example MySQL, that is the name of the image. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Feel free to contact me anytime at mehbood@gmail.com. Visit my LinkedIn profile or my Twitter handle. If you want to know the version of your Docker, you just simply type in sudo docker version, and it will give you a detailed information about your Docker version. So we are using version 20, API version 1.4, Go version is this, Git commit is this. It was built on 2021 Wednesday 2nd June. Architecture is Linux AMD 64, and it is the community version. So we have the client Docker engine and we have the Docker engine server. So it is a very useful tool, and I think you should start implementing it in your local projects as well, or your university projects. It will be very helpful in your career in the software industry or networks or whatever sector you're working in. Good luck in your career. See you next time with a new video on Docker.